The carpenter's last house. Long ago, there lived an old carpenter who was known for building some of the finest houses anyone had ever seen. People often admired the finished homes. They spoke about the beautiful designs, the strong walls, and the careful craftsmanship. But very few knew the man behind them. For more than 40 years, the old carpenter worked under the same builder. Before the sun rose each morning, he was already at work. After the sun had set, he was often still there, putting the finishing touches on another home. He never rushed. He believed that even the smallest detail mattered. If something is worth doing, he would often tell the younger workers, it's worth doing well. Years passed. One house became 10. 10 became 100. The old carpenter built homes where families laughed, celebrated, and grew old together. His work became a part of countless lives. Then one day he looked at his hands. The hands that had once lifted heavy beams with ease now trembled. His steps had become slower. His body was asking for rest. So he walked to the man he had worked beside for nearly his entire life. "I think it's time for me to retire," he said softly. "I've spent my best years building homes. Now I'd like to spend the years I have left with my family." The builder looked at him with a gentle smile. "I understand." Then he paused. "But before you leave, I have one final request." The old carpenter nodded. "Build one last house. I've been saving this project for someone I trust completely." The carpenter agreed. But this time, his heart wasn't in it. Every morning he counted how many days were left before he could finally stop working. The excitement he once felt had disappeared. Whenever a small flaw appeared, he told himself, "It doesn't matter." When something could have been made stronger, he settled for what was merely acceptable. When a detail needed more time, he chose the faster way instead. The house still looked beautiful. Anyone walking past would have admired it. But the old carpenter knew this wasn't the finest work of his life. It was simply the last. Weeks later, the house was finished. He handed the keys to the builder. "It's done." The builder looked at the house for a long moment. Then he turned, smiled, and placed the keys back into the carpenter's hands. "This house is yours." The carpenter stood speechless. "I wanted to thank you for the many years you've dedicated to this work. This is my gift to you." The old carpenter slowly looked back at the house. Suddenly, every shortcut he had taken, every corner he had hurried through, every moment he had thought, "That will do," came flooding back. If only he had known. If only he had given this one house the same care he had given all the others. Seeing the regret on his face, the builder quietly said, "Most people think they're building something for someone else. But every day's work is really building their own future." The old carpenter never forgot those words. He spent the following months repairing the house. Not because anyone asked him to, but because he wanted to live in a home built with the same pride that had guided him for most of his life. From that day on, people remembered his story. Not because he built hundreds of houses, but because one final house taught a lesson that everyone needed to hear. Whatever work is placed before you, do it with your whole heart. You never know which effort will shape your future. Moral: never give less than your best, even in the smallest task. Every choice, every effort, and every piece of work becomes part of the life you are building for yourself.